Hello, grade 8. Welcome to our new topic, elements, compounds, and molecules. I am Sir Wawi, your ever curious science buddy. Let's have a fun and exciting discussion today. Alam niyo ba, this topic is actually just a review for yung mga anak. Kasi na-discuss na ito noong grade 7 kayo. May konting nadagdag na mga information pero madali niyo pa din itong maiintindihan kung nakinig kayo sa inyong grade 7 teachers. So before we start, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And of course, hit that notification bell para lagi kayong updated sa mga susunod pang science videos natin. Alright, let's start. Okay, so our topic for today is about, nabanggit ko na naman, elements, compounds, and molecules. So yung covered na topic nito is the pure substances, the discovery and occurrence of elements, compounds, and molecules. Okay, and for our learning competency, describe the properties of pure substances as having fixed chemical compositions. Okay, examples of which are elements and compounds, and that all atoms of an element have a unique number of protons. Okay, so dito, ano nga ba ulit? Review tayo muna. Ano nga ulit yung pure substance? So, pag sinabi natin pure substance, mga anak, sa grade 7 natin, isa siyang material na may uniform and definite composition, di ba? Ibig sabihin noon, kahit saang part ka kumuha ng sample na yon, pare-pareho yung kanyang properties, both physical and chemical. So, magbibigay ako ng example, mga anak. For example, meron tayong two classification ng pure substance, the elements and compounds, di ba? So, let's say element, we have oxygen. So, kahit saang part ng ating planet, okay, kumuha ka ng sample ng oxygen. Yung kaniyang uh, properties, okay, physical and chemical ay pare-parehas. Another gold, okay, kahit saan pang part dito sa planet natin, similar yung kaniyang physical and chemical properties. Okay, so sa compounds naman, for example, water, H2O. Okay, kahit saang part ka kumuha ng sample ng water dito sa mundo, okay, lagi yung kanyang composition or atomic composition is hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, H2O. Ganon yon, pure substance. Okay, kapag pure substance, hindi mo siya pwedeng paghiwalayin by physical means. Ano ba yung physical means, sir? Like for example, filtering, distillation, or straining. So, hindi natin siya kayang paghiwalayin by physical means. Kung gusto mo talaga siyang paghiwalayin, kailangan natin ng chemical reactions. Nakukuha? Okay, so sige. Ayan, so for our learning objectives, explain the differences among elements. Okay, so second, differentiate pure substances, whether they are elements or compounds. And then third one, identify classification of compounds. And then lastly, differentiate compounds and molecules. Okay, so here, so before we begin or before we go on, let's have a short review. So fill the gaps, atomic data hand. So yung ating instruction, refer to the periodic table and write the missing information on the following figures. Atomic mass should be the relative atomic mass in whole numbers. So yung malinaw naman sa instruction, last week ko pa kayo in-instruct na bumili kayo ng periodic table or mag-print ng periodic table ng malinaw kasi nandun nakalagay yung mga data like atomic mass, atomic number, and many more. Okay, so hindi natin masasagutan itong table without using the periodic table unless sa ulo natin yung content or yung nilalaman ng periodic table. So, yung ating atomic mass in our previous discussion, lagi siyang naka-express in decimal point, di ba? Pero dito, gagamit tayo ng relative atomic mass na naka-whole number. Okay, madali lang naman mag-convert ng atomic mass into whole number. Kailangan lang nating i-round off yung numbers or yung ating value, okay, in whole number. Like for example, 24.5. Okay, i-round off lang. 25. Okay, so alam ko namang marunong na kayo mag-round off. Or let's say 24.3. I di 24. Okay, so something like that. So are you ready? So dito sa ating column, meron tayong element. You will determine the element. Okay, yung ano yung element na hinihingi dyan. Okay, by using the clues. And then we have ions, atomic number. Alam niyo na naman pag sinabing atomic number, let's say it's just the position, okay, in the periodic table, or it also um what do you call this, define the number of protons of an element, ano, and then atomic mass, okay, so the weighted average of all known isotopes, and then for the atomic symbol, syempre, yun, nasa periodic table, and then pag atomic symbol naman lagi is, kung two letters yan, yung isa is capital, and then yung isa naman sunod is small. Pag only one letter, ay di capital yon. Okay, nakukuha? Sige. Ano naman po sir yung ions? Na-meet niyo na ba yung word na ions, mga anak? Okay, so ano ba yung ions? Basically, kapag ang isang atom mga anak ay nagbigay or tumatanggap ng electron after chemical reaction or bonding, nagkakaroon siya ng charge, positive or negative. Yun na yung tinatawag nating ions. Pag nagkaroon siya ng charge is pag nagkaroon siya ng charge, it's either siya ay nagbigay or tumanggap ng electron. So sir, bakit po nagbibigay or tumatanggap ng electron yung mga element during bonding? So, ang mga element mga anak or atoms, nagbibigay sila or tumatanggap ng isang electron like what I've said in our previous discussion, may goal sila kasi gusto nilang maging stable. Okay, gusto nilang maging stable. At sa periodic table of elements, merong mga exemption. Okay, may mga elements na already stable. Yun yung pinakadulong group or also known as the noble gases. Don't worry, magkakaroon naman tayo ng separate discussion about that. But for now, okay, alamin lang natin yung sinasabing ions. Yun yung mga charged atoms. Okay, so here, kapag nagbigay siya ng electron mga anak, mas marami yung protons na. Siyempre, nagbigay ka, nabawasan ka. So, ibig sabihin, mas madami na yung proton mo. Okay, kaya, yung magiging charge mo now is positive or tinatawag nating cation. Okay, kapag ikaw naman ay tumanggap ng electron, mas dadami yung electron mo. Okay, so ikaw ay magiging negative ion or ang tawag sa'yo ay anion. Okay, yun lamang yung pinaka parang clue doon. Pero no need to dwell on this, ha? Maging simple lang tayo. So, element, let's start with this one. Ano kayang ions po ang AU? Anong element yan? Okay, ano yung name ng element na AU? Okay, it's gold, correct. Anong ion siya? Okay, it's AU or cation. Ano? Okay, and then yung plus sign niya. Okay, nagkaganyan siya kasi naglabas siya or nagbigay siya ng isang electron. Ano naman ang atomic number ng gold? Correct, it's 79. Yun yung nasa periodic table niya. Okay, yung position din ano, and the atomic number tells you the number of protons. So, meaning, 79 din yung number of protons ng gold. What about the atomic mass? Nasa periodic table din to, but i-round off natin. Ano? Okay, it's 197. What about the atomic symbol? Ayun, na nabigay na. It's AU. Okay, next. What about this one? Anong element naman yung Al3+? Okay. Okay, correct. It's aluminum. So, ibig sabihin, Al3+, nagbigay siya ng tatlong electron. Okay, ano? And atomic number, okay, pang number 13 siya sa periodic table. Ano? Atomic mass, naka-whole number, okay, 27. Ano naman yung atomic symbol? It's Al, correct. What about the next one? Okay, 133 blank and then may plus na sign. Ano? Okay, so ano yan mga anak? So, dyan meron tayong 133 blank plus. Ang ibig sabihin nito, may atom na may mass number na 133. Okay, hanapin natin dyan sa periodic table. Tapos, positive ion pa siya. Okay, so ngayon, paano natin malalaman kung anong element ito? Dito na papasok yung inyong periodic table. Gamitin ninyo dyan. Okay, so yung mass number na 133 ay super common sa anong element dyan sa periodic table. Okay, it's cesium, ano? Okay, sa periodic table, makikita natin na cesium or yung CS, okay, ay may atomic number na 55. So, ito yung sagot natin, no? Cesium ion. Okay, so CS, and then yung kanyang atomic number is 55, atomic mass is 133, and then the atomic symbol is CS, capital C and small s. So, sunod na, correct, ano, how does losing electrons forming positive ions affect the charge of an atom? Paano ba yung losing of electrons forming positive ions daw affect the charge of an atom? Sabi dyan, it makes the atom positively charged. Pag ikaw ay nagbigay, positive ka. Pag ikaw ay tumanggap, ikaw ay negative. Yun yung nasa rule ng ions. Ano? Okay. Ayan. So, activity number 1. How many atoms make it? Okay, ang ating objectives, determine the types of atoms that make up different substances. We have our PowerPoint presentation. Sa instruction, look at the list of the substances provided. Oxygen gas, water, copper wire, salt. For each substance, write down the types of atoms it contains. Count and record the total number of different atom types for each substance. So, may particular substance akong ibibigay at doon, bibilangin ninyo kung ilang atoms yung bumubuo sa kanya. Isa lang ba? Dalawa? Tatlo? Okay, ganun lamang. At sasabihin niyo sa akin kung anong element yun or atom yun. Is that clear? Okay, so how many atoms make it? Oxygen gas. Ilang atoms yung bumubuo dito? Ilang type ng atoms yung bumubuo dyan sa oxygen gas? Okay, correct. It's only one. Okay, and yun po ay oxygen atoms lang. Next, water. Okay, so ilang atoms naman yung bumubuo sa water? Correct. It's two types of atom. Yun yung hydrogen atom at oxygen atoms. Then copper wire. Correct. It's only one type of atom, copper only. How about the salt? Okay, correct. It's two atoms. So, meron tayong dalawang atoms sa ating salt, sodium and chlorine atoms. Ano, what about in carbon dioxide? Tama ulit kayo. Two types of atoms. Ano, carbon, oxygen, and oxygen atoms. What about in glucose? Correct. It's three atoms. Ano, carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. What about in ammonia? Okay. Correct. It's two types of atom, nitrogen and hydrogen atoms. Okay. So, sige. So, marunong na naman tayo dito sa ating mga kung ilang atoms yung bumubuo sa bawat substances. So, anyway, for follow-up question, which of the listed substances are elements and which are compounds? So, saan diyan daw yung element and compounds? Kung naaalala po yung discussion sa grade 7 about elements and compounds. Correct. So ang ating elements diyan sa ating activity is oxygen gas and copper wire. While yung compounds natin, we have water, salt, the carbon dioxide, glucose, and ammonia. Okay, so why do some substances contain only one type of atom, while others contain two or more? Sabi dyan. So the answer is substances that contain only one type of atom are elements. So malinaw na. So sa ating activity, pag yung ating substances ay binubuo lamang ng one type of atoms, siya ay element. Pero pag siya ay binubuo ng two or more kailangan different atoms, siya ay compound. Okay. Is that clear? Okay. Next. If atoms are building blocks of matter, what makes each matter unique? Kung yung ating atom is building block ng matter, paano sila nagiging unique in different ways? Okay, so the answer is the type and arrangement of atoms in a substance make each matter unique. Okay, so paano ba yan mga anak? Lahat ng bagay ay gawa sa atoms, di ba? Pero nagiging unique ang bawat matter depende sa type, okay, ng atoms na bumubuo sa kanila at arrangement ng atoms na bumubuo sa kanila. For example, types ng atom. Pag kinumpare natin yung water and carbon dioxide, magkaiba, okay, yung atoms na bumubuo sa kanila. And it makes them unique. Okay? It makes them unique. Hindi natin sila pwedeng i-classify as the same. Kasi ang water, binubuo siya ng hydrogen and oxygen. While yung carbon dioxide, binubuo siya ng carbon and oxygen. Yun yung type of atoms. It makes them unique. Arrangement of atoms. Paano, sir, yung arrangement of atoms? Mga anak, may mga substances or mga what do you call this? Yeah, substances na same yung atoms na bumubuo sa kanila. Pero nagkakaiba pa din sila, yung state nila, dahil sa arrangement ng atoms. Let's say, yung diamond and graphite. Okay, familiar naman tayo. Yung dalawang yan, parehas yan gawa sa carbon. Pero magkaiba sila. Kasi magkaiba yung arrangement ng carbon atoms sa kanila. Yung sa diamond, yung carbon atoms is naka-arrange in 3D structure, while sa graphite, yung carbon atoms is naka-arrange in layered structure. Okay? Kaya nagiging unique, okay, ang bawat substance depending on the type and arrangement of atoms in a substance. Okay? So next, how do I differentiate substance? paano natin i-differentiate yung substance? Let's say carbon dioxide and water again. Okay, by looking at their atomic composition, okay, properties and structure. Okay, so yun yung ating titingnan. By looking at their atomic composition, properties and structure, you can differentiate substances. Okay, atomic composition, yung pinaliwanag ko, carbon dioxide and water, magkaiba yung atomic composition na bumubuo sa kanila. Sa water, hydrogen and oxygen. Sa carbon dioxide, carbon and oxygen. Okay, properties. Ano po sir yung properties? Okay, yung properties mga anak, yun yung characteristics ng matter dahil sa atoms na bumubuo sa kanila. For example, yung water natin, siya talaga ay in liquid state at room temperature. Okay, ang oxygen, okay, oxygen gas, siya ay in gaseous form at room temperature. Okay, yun yung properties nila. Okay, so paano naman sir sa structure? Kung paano sila nakaayos, paano nakaayos yung atoms. Kaya nagbigay ako ng example yung sa diamond and graphite. Parehas silang gawa sa carbon, pero magkaiba sila because of the arrangement of atoms. Okay, sa diamond, naka 3D structure yung arrangement, while in graphite is naka-layered yung structure nila. Ano? Okay, that's how you differentiate substances. Okay, next. For our activity number 2, Word Detective Science Edition. So it's like a vocabulary activity. For our objectives, students will match scientific definitions to the correct vocabulary words, strengthening their understanding and key science terms. So we have our PowerPoint presentation. Okay, so the teacher gives a definition. May definition po doon, a substance made of only one kind of atom. For example, ng definition. Ano? Second, students think and choose the correct word from their list. Merong choices naman kayong pagpipilian. No worries. The teacher reveals the correct answer and students check if they got it right. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, so choose the right answer. So this is the definition. A substance made of only one kind of atom. Is it molecule, compound, mixture, or element? Correct. It's element. Okay, so ang element po ay binubuo lamang ng only one kind of atom. Okay, next. A substance made of two or more different elements chemically joined. Molecule, compound, mixture, or element? Correct. It's compound. Okay, next. Two or more atoms banded together can be the same or different elements. Okay. Two or more atoms banded together. Pwedeng parehas or pwedeng magkaiba. Anong tawag natin doon? Correct. It's molecule. Okay. So next, a shiny hard substance that conducts heat and electricity. Kayang dumaloy ang kuryente. Correct. It's metal. Okay. What about this one? A substance that is usually dull, brittle, and does not conduct heat or electricity well. Of course, it's non-metal. Tama kayo mga anak. Ano? Ang gagaling. Okay, for our activity number 3, element or compound, sort it out. So, alam ko naman kasi na alam nyo na yung element and compound kasi kakaturo ko pa lang yun sa grade 7 part yan na sa inyo. Okay, so objective students will be able to differentiate between elements and compounds by sorting given definitions into the correct category. Okay, we have PowerPoint presentation. And for the instructions, the teacher provides a set of definitions. Okay. Second, students read each definition carefully and place it under the correct category, like for example, element or compound. Okay, after sorting all definitions, the teacher reviews the answer with the class and discusses why each definition belongs to each category. Okay, so here, element and compound. Okay, so sige. Ayan. First definition contains different atoms in fixed ratio. Different atoms. Okay, it's compound. What about consist of only one type of atom? Correct. It's element. Ano? Next, cannot be broken into simpler substances. Hindi na natin siya kayang ipaghiwalayin or broken into simpler substances. Kasi yun na siya. Okay, it's element. Ay, bakit na bumalik tayo? Ano? Ayan, next. Ay, oh my. It's element. What about compound? okay, can be broken down into simpler substances. Yun yung main difference sa kanila. Ang element, hindi na natin siya kayang paghiwalayin kasi na yun ang pinakasimpleng structure niya or appearance. Ang compound naman, pwede pa natin siyang paghiwalayin into chemical reaction, pero hindi physically. Okay, but in chemical reactions. Ano, next? The list is endless. Correct, it's compound. Hindi natin mabilang-bilang kung gaano kadami na ang compounds, ano. But element, we can kasi 108 lang ang total elements sa periodic table. Ano? What about this one? Copper, hydrogen, mercury, they are correct element. What about water, salt, sugar, and methane? Okay, it's compound. So, ang water binubuo siya ng hydrogen, oxygen. Ang salt naman ay NaCl, sodium, and chlorine. Ang sugar naman is siya ay binubuo ng anong mga element. Okay, so we have carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Ang methane naman, binubuo siya ng carbon and hydrogen. Okay, so here, ayan. So, represented by symbols, it's element. Represented by formula or chemical formula, it's compound. Tama. Next. So, follow-up questions. Which of these clues tells you that a substance is an element? A. It contains only one kind of atom. B. It contains two or more different atoms. C. It can be broken down into simpler substances. Or D. It has a changing composition. Correct. It's letter A. Okay. So elements are pure substances made of only one type of atom. And this is what makes them unique and distinguishable from compounds. Ano? What about question number two? How can you identify an element using its atomic number? Letter A, the atomic number tells you the number of electrons only. Letter B, the atomic number tells you the number of protons in the atom. Letter C, the atomic number tells you the number of compounds it can form. Or letter D, the atomic number tells you the type of molecules it forms. Correct, it's letter B. Okay. An element's identity is determined by its atomic number, which equals the number of protons in its nucleus. Paulit-ulit ako dito, pero hopefully, kahit paulit-ulit si Sir, alam niyo pa din ano, how to differentiate atomic number. Okay, and ano yung kanyang kinalaman sa number of protons. Okay, what about the question number three? If two atoms have different numbers of protons, they are, pag magkaiba yung number ng protons ng isang atoms, they are the same element, different elements, a compound, or a mixture. Correct, it's different elements. Okay, if atoms have different number of protons, they are different elements because the number of protons defines the element. Okay, question number four. Which of the following is a compound? Oxygen gas, water, gold, or carbon? Correct, it's water. Ayan. So a compound is made up of two or more different elements chemically combined in a fixed ratio. Water is made of hydrogen and oxygen atoms in a 2:1 ratio. Okay. Question number five. What happens to elements when they chemically combine to form compounds? Letter A, they keep all the same properties. They disappear completely. They form a substance with different properties or they become mixtures. Correct. It's letter C. Ano? Pag nagbabond or nagmimix yung dalawang elements, they can form a new substance with different properties. Okay, when elements combine to form a compound, the new substance usually has properties very different from the original elements. Okay, so activity number four, we're in the earth element. Okay, it's an element hunt. So objective students will be able to identify where common elements are normally found by associating them with the four earth subsystems. So meron tayong four earth subsystems. Okay, in earth science. Geosphere, hydrosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. Okay, so dito sa activity natin mga anak, isusort nyo lang yung mga element kung saan sila naturally occurring sa biosphere ba, sa geosphere, atmosphere, and biosphere. But before that, of course, i-discuss ko muna yung apat na yan in a brief manner. So we have our PowerPoint presentation. And for the instructions, the teacher shows several samples of elements, like for example, oxygen, iron, nitrogen. And second, students determine where each element commonly occurs and write or call out the corresponding Earth subsystem. So for number three, instruction, the teacher checks answers and discusses the importance of each element in its respective subsystem. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so these are the four subsystems. Okay, the solid part of the Earth, including rocks, mountains, and landforms. Ano po siya? Okay, it's geosphere. Correct. Solid part po ng Earth. Yung mga solid, alam niyo naman po yung mga solid, it's, okay, geosphere. Next, all water on Earth, such as ocean, rivers, lakes, and glaciers. Correct. It's hydrosphere. The layer of gases surrounding Earth that supports life and weather. Correct. It's atmosphere. What about this one? All living things on Earth, from plants and animals to humans. Correct. It's biosphere. Ayan. So, yun po yung ating four subsystem. Ayan. So, element hand, find where they belong. Isusort lang natin yung mga elements kung saan ba sila kadalasang makikita. Simulan natin ang iron. Saan ba siya makikita madalas? Okay, tama. Sa geosphere, sa solid part ng Earth. Hydrogen. Okay, in the atmosphere, but it can also be found in hydrosphere, di ba ang water, H2O. Okay, what about carbon? Okay, in geosphere, but it also found, or pwede rin siyang makita sa biosphere kasi mostly all the living things is composed of carbon. Okay, next, what about helium? Correct, atmosphere. Ano? What about silver? Geosphere. Okay, and then phosphorus? Correct. It's in geosphere. Ayan. So, sige na sort na natin. So, marami pa tayong elements sa periodic table, pero yan lang yung ating sinort muna. Hopefully, ma-familiarize naman. Next, name one element that occurs in the biosphere and explain its role in living things. Ano yung makikita natin sa biosphere? Carbon. Okay, it occurs in biosphere. Its role in living things is that it forms the backbone of all organic molecules such as proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and DNA, which are essential for life. Hindi lang naman carbon yung pwede nating makita sa mga living things. Meron din tayong hydrogen, nitrogen, oxygen, phosphorus, and sulfur. Okay, so pwede natin din silang makita sa living organism. Okay, next, points to review. To remember, rather. Elements can be classified as metals or non-metals. Just remember that. Okay, every element has unique chemical properties that determine where it is found in Earth's subsystem. Okay, next. For our activity number 5, metal or non-metal, sort it out. Students will be able to identify and differentiate the characteristics of metals and non-metals by sorting given traits into the correct category. Okay, the teacher provides a list of characteristics. Example, good conductor of heat and electricity. Okay, brittleness or brittle. Students read each characteristics carefully and place it under the correct category, metal or non-metal. After sorting, the teacher reviews the answers with the class and discusses why each characteristics belongs to its category. Okay, so here, good conductor of heat and electricity. It's for metal. So metals are good conductor of heat and electricity. Kaya nga sa mga wirings, ginagamit natin metals kasi uh, yan yung mag-conduct ng heat and electricity. Next, mostly insulators. Okay, it's non-metal. Okay, hindi siya, okay, or hindi siya nakakapag-conduct ng electricity. Kasi, yung mga electrons, okay, ng mga materials ng insulators, yung kanilang mga electrons is talagang mahigpit na hinahawakan or mahigpit na nakapin sa kanilang atoms, hindi nakakagalaw. Okay, kaya hindi sila makapag-conduct ng electricity. Okay, next, do not exhibit luster. Kapag sinabi natin luster, yung pagiging shiny. Okay, so do not exhibit luster is non-metal. So ang mga non-metal hindi sila makinang. Kumikinang. Malleable and ductile. Okay. So ano ba pag malleable and ductile? Is it metal or non-metal? Okay, it's correct. It's metal. So ang mga metal, they are malleable and ductile. Okay, so Kapag sinabing malleable ng mga anak, ibig sabihin ang metal ay pwedeng pukpukin or i-flatten into thin sheets without breaking. Ano, like for example, gold, aluminum foil. Pag sinabi nating ductile, okay, ibig sabihin ang metal ay pwede nating i-stretch or ihila into wires like copper wires. Okay. What about high tensile strength? Okay. Okay, correct. It's metal. Pag sinabi natin mga anak na tensile strength, yan ay, okay, ibig sabihin kaya nitong tiisin yung paghila o pagbunot ng hindi basta-basta napuputol. Kahit hilahin mo siya, okay, hindi basta-basta napuputol. Kaya nga, yung mga metal, ginagamit na parang, um, what do you call this, support sa mga bridges kasi hindi agad-agad siya mapuputol. Pero pag ginamit mo dun ay mga insulators, plastic, ayan, baka nag-break na yun or naputol na. Okay, next. Low tensile strength. It's for non-metal. Ayan, yung madaling maputol pag hinihila-hila. Okay, next. High melting points. Siyempre, mga metal po ang high melting point. Ibig sabihin, kailangan ng sobrang taas na init bago siya matunaw. Okay. Example, iron. Okay, tungsten. Yan ay kailangan mo talaga ng sobrang taas na init bago yan matunaw yung mga yan. Okay. High densities. Okay, it's for metal then. So pag sinabi nating densities, it measures how tightly packed the molecules are in an object. Siyempre, madali nating ma-identify. Pag sobrang tigas, mataas talaga yung density niyan. Okay. Next, low melting points is for non-metals. Hindi mo na kailangan ng sobrang init para sila ay matunaw. Okay. Low densities, non-metals din. Okay, kasi nga, yan. Ayan po yung ating pinaka-summary. Hopefully, na-encounter nyo na to nung grade 7 kayo. Follow-up question, why are metals generally good conductors of heat and electricity while non-metals are mostly insulators? Ayan, so metals have free-moving electrons or the localized electrons that carry electric current and transfer heat efficiently. Non-metals lack this free electrons so they do not conduct well. Sa mga metals kasi, meron silang mga tinatawag na free-moving electrons. Kaya nakaka-flow ang mga electrons sa kanila. Sa non-metals, like what I've said earlier, naka-tight. Tight yung electron, hindi makagalaw. Kaya hindi sila makapag-conduct ng electricity. If you need a material to make a strong bridge capable, or not capable rather, if you need a material to make a strong bridge cable, would you choose a metal or a non-metal? Why? Okay, ano yung dapat cable ng bridge? Is it non-metal or metal? Tama, it's you would choose a metal because metals have high tensile strength, meaning they can withstand strong pulling forces without breaking. Okay. Next, for our activity number 6, Science Wrap Up, fill in the blanks, students will reinforce their understanding of elements, compounds, Earth subsystem, and metal versus non-metal characteristics by completing a series of fill in the blank statements. We have our PowerPoint presentation. The teacher provides sentences with missing words related to previous activities. Example, a substance made of only one kind of atom is called a. Students read each sentence carefully and write the correct word in the blank. After completing all sentences, the teacher goes over the answers with the class and clarifies any misunderstandings. So most of the metals are correct, solid in form, except mercury. Okay. As such, most metals are found in our geosphere. As you can see in our previous activity, metals can also mix in water in the form of charged particles called, ano nga yung charged particle natin tinatawag? Okay, it's ions. Okay, so next, nonmetals can exist in different forms in the environment. They are primarily found as correct gases, such as helium, neon, argon, or as halogens like fluorine, okay, and chlorine. Nonmetals can also be found as solids in the geosphere, such as sulfur, carbon, and iodine. Okay, in living organisms, metals are found as ions and play an important role in metabolism. Most nonmetals, such as carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, constitute the main structure of our body. Okay. All in all, out of the 118 discovered elements, 90 elements are naturally occurring in our environment. In appreciable amounts, while 4 elements occur due to radioactive decay. The rest were artificially discovered in laboratories. Ano? Okay. So for our activity number 7, banding showdown, ionic versus covalent. Actually, hindi ko na, dito, pwede siguro natin skip ito, pero i-discuss ko pa din. Objective, students will be able to distinguish between ionic and covalent bonds by discussing their differences and identifying examples of each. We have our PowerPoint presentation. The teacher presents a brief explanation of ionic bands, okay, the transfer of electron usually between metal and nonmetal, and covalent bands, sharing of electrons usually between nonmetals. The teacher shows example of compounds, example NaCl, water, carbon dioxide, magnesium oxide, and students determine whether its compound has an ionic or covalent bond. Okay. The class discusses their answers and the teacher clarifies why each compound is ionic or covalent, emphasizing the key characteristics of both types of bonds. Okay. So, ito namang covalent or bonding, mapu-full discuss na ninyo sa grade 9. So, sige. Ayan. So, all atoms have a goal to become stable. Like what I've said in our previous discussion, yun yung goal ng bawat atoms to become stable. But there is a problem with their stability. Their electrons are always looking for something to fill their shell. They need 8 outer electrons. Okay, yun nga yung sabi ko mga anak. Para maging stable ang mga atoms, kailangan nila ng 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Okay, kailangan lagi nila ng 8 electrons. May mga stable elements na tayo sa periodic table. Yun yung mga noble gases. Kasi meron na silang complete 8 electrons in their outermost shell. Okay. May exemption tayo dito palagi, ang hydrogen at helium. Kasi itong dalawang element, kailangan lang nila ng 2 electrons para sila ay maging stable. Okay. Ayan, like this one. Meron tayong 2 electrons in the outermost shell. Stable ba siya? Hindi. So, kailangan niyang, ilan pa ang kailangan niya para maging stable? 6, di ba? Okay, or pwede rin niyang i-give up. Okay, yung dalawang electron na yan para siya ay maging stable depending on the type of bond na pwedeng ma-form. Okay, so, sir, how to know how many electrons you need? Paano, sir, namin malalaman kung ilan yung kailangang electron ng bawat atom? Simply find their group. Their group will tell you the number of valence electrons they already have. Like, for example, sa group 1. Okay, so, ang kanilang valence electron is 1. Okay, sa group 2, ang kailang valence electron is 2. Skip tayo. Punta tayo dito sa group 3. Skip natin itong transition metals. Start tayo sa boron. Ang group 3 sa boron group is 3 valence electron. Carbon, 4 valence electron. Nitrogen, okay, 5 valence electron. Oxygen, 6. Fluorine is 7. Okay. So, yun lang. Napakadali lang natin malaman yung kanilang valence electron. At doon natin titingnan kung ilang electron pa ang kanilang kailangan para sila ay maging stable. Okay. So, atoms create ways to get electrons or lose them. Some by giving or taking through ionic bonding. Okay. So, dito sa ionic bonding, it's a form of bonding. It's a give and take relationship. And meron tayo mga anak na tatandaan, ang ionic bonding ay nangyayari between metal and non-metal. Kaya madali nating ma-identify. So, yung mga metal, they give or yung kailang tendency, they give electrons to become stable. That's why, nagiging silang positive ions or cation. Kasi sabi ko nga kanya, pag ikaw nagbibigay, positive ka. Pag tumatanggap ka, negative ka. Non-metal takes electron to become stable. That's why they are negative ions. Ang tawag naman sa kanila ay anion. So, tingnan natin yung tendency dito. Si sodium or Na, ang valence electron niya ay 1. Si chlorine, ang valence electron niya ay 7. Okay. So, instead na maghanap pa si sodium ng 7 na valence electron, i-give up na lang niya yung kanyang last electron para siya maging stable. Okay. So, pag binilang pa natin yung kanyang outermost shell, 8 na. Similar si chlorine. Okay. Madali lang sa kanya ang humingi kasi iisa lang naman yung hihingin niya. Okay, para siya maging stable. At ang tawag natin dyan sa bonding na yan ay ionic bonding. Tatandaan. and they are nangyayari lang sila sa metal at non-metal. No worries mga anak, pwede naman ito mga teachers na hindi na natin isali sa discussion. Okay, so which of these are ionic bonds? Okay, ano nga ulit sa pag-ionic? Metal and non-metal. Okay, so meron naman tayong mga legend. Yung red metal, yung dilaw is metalloids, and then yung blue is non-metals. So saan dyan yung mga ionic bonds? Correct. Is sodium bromide or NaBr, magnesium oxide or MgO. Okay, so yun po yung ating mga ionic bonds, metals and non-metals. Next, in similar cases, some nonmetals can find metals. They instead share electrons with their fellow nonmetals. Kung walang give and take relationship na mangyari, kung ang mangyari ay sharing, okay, ang tawag sa kanya ay covalent bond. Sharing of electron to have a complete electron in the outermost shell is known as covalent. At nangyayari lang po ito sa non-metals plus another non-metals. Like for example, si hydrogen, hindi siya stable kasi kulang siya ng isang electron. Dalawa lang naman yung kailangan niya para siya maging stable. Si oxygen, nangangailangan ng dalawang electron kasi ang kanyang valence electron ay 6. So, dalawa pa yung kulang sa kanya. So, pag ganito yung nangyari, sharing, naging stable yung hydrogen, ang tawag natin dyan ay covalent bond. Okay, so which of these are covalent bonds? Non-metals plus non-metals? Correct. Hydrogen fluoride, oxygen gas. Okay. Next, follow-up questions. Why does sodium form an ionic bond with chlorine? Yan. Okay, sodium is a metal and chlorine is a non-metal. Sodium easily loses an electron while chlorine gains that electron. So, an ionic bond is formed through electron transfer. Okay, kita niyo naman yung transfer, ano? Okay, next. Why does oxygen form a covalent bond with hydrogen? Okay, bakit daw? Oxygen and hydrogen are both nonmetals, so instead of transferring electrons, they share electrons, which results in a covalent bonding or bond. Next, ito na yung ating last activity. Okay, so you will, same or different, you will identify the difference between homonuclear versus heteronuclear molecules. Students will be able to differentiate between homonuclear and heteronuclear molecules by examining their composition and identifying examples. So we have our PowerPoint presentation. Okay, the teacher explains the definition of homonuclear molecules and heteronuclear molecules. The teacher provides a list of molecules and students determine whether each is homonuclear or heteronuclear. Third, students share their answers and the teacher discusses why each molecule belongs to each category, emphasizing the differences in composition. Okay, so sige, ano muna pag homonuclear or diatomic molecules? Pag sinabi nating homonuclear or diatomic molecules, yan yung mga molecules na binubuo lamang ng two atoms ng parehas element. Two atoms of the same element. Kailangan dalawang atom pero parehas na element. For example, oxygen gas, hydrogen gas, nitrogen gas, chlorine. Okay, chlorine gas. Okay. So yan po yung mga composition niya. Dapat two atoms, okay, ng same element. Okay. Pag heteronuclear naman or polyatomic, dapat siya binubuo ng dalawang atoms or higit pa na magkaiba naman. Like for example, yan, molecules made up of three or more atoms of different elements like hydrogen and water, hydrogen and oxygen, carbon dioxide, carbon and oxygen. Okay, we have ammonia or NH3. Okay, so magkakaiba yung mga atoms na bumubuo sa kanila. Pag yun ay magkakaiba, heteronuclear molecules or polyatomic molecules. Nakukuha. Ayan. So, start natin. Saan dyan yung homonuclear? Same ha, dapat same. Correct. Fluorine gas. Ang iodine gas? Okay, what about ethane? Dalawang atoms na magkaiba, so heteronuclear or polyatomic. Sulfuric acid, methane, what about bromine gas? So, ito po ay na-sort na natin. Ayan, so, sige. Pakadali naman ano? How can you tell the difference between a homonuclear molecule and a heteronuclear molecule just by looking at the atoms in the molecule? A homonuclear molecule is made up of atoms of the same element, while heteronuclear molecule is made up of atoms of different elements. Napakadali. So meron tayong mga tinatawag na allotropes, different forms of the same element in the same physical state with different structure and properties. May nabanggit ako sa inyo mga anak kanina, ang diamond and graphite is binubuo lamang or gawa sa carbon, pero magkaiba sila. Ang tawag natin sa mga substance na yan ay allotropes. Oxygen. Okay, ang oxygen gas ay gawa sa oxygen. Ang ozone ay gawa din sa oxygen, pero magkaiba yung composition. Yung kailang composition. Okay, or structure. Ano? So, ang tawag sa mga yan is allotropes. Okay, next. Yan. Okay na tayo. So, proceed na tayo sa formative assessment. Madali lang naman. Test 1, classify the following materials as elements, compounds. Okay, put a check mark on the appropriate column. Start tayo sa platinum. Is it element or compound? Correct, it's element. What about vinegar? Okay, it's a compound. What about helium? It's element. What about muriatic acid? Okay, it's a compound. What about chlorine gas? Correct. What about silver chloride? Okay, or AgCl. It's a compound. What about gold bar? Ano naman ang gold bar? It's, okay, element. Ano? So, sige. Pause mo. Ayan. So, next. What about this one? Test to further. The identified compounds in test 1 could be classified according to their structure. List the name of the substance in the appropriate column. So, saan daw dito yung covalent? Saan ang ionic? So, pag covalent nga, di ba, siya ay non-metal, non-metal. Pag ionic, non-metal and non-metal. Okay, so here. So, here it's the vinegar, muriatic acid. And for ionic, we have AgCl or silver chloride. Ano? Okay, next. Test 3, referring to test 1. Which among them are molecules? Tell whether they are diatomic molecules or polyatomic molecules, which are homonuclear, nuclear, okay, and put a check mark, okay, on the appropriate column. I-identify lang natin kung siya ay polyatomic, diatomic, homonuclear, or heteronuclear. Okay, so tita, simulan muna natin yung vinegar, CH3COOH. Okay, siya ay heteronuclear. Polyatomic or diatomic? Siyempre, it's polyatomic. HCl or muriatic acid. Heteronuclear and polyatomic. Chlorine gas. Correct. Homonuclear and diatomic. Correct. Okay. What about AgCl? Correct. It's heteronuclear and polyatomic. Okay. So, madali lang naman, di ka? Ayan, so hopefully you understand and you learned something for today. Thank you so much for listening and see you po sa ating susunod na lesson.